Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank God for loving us and being there, giving us time to be able to see how this is real talk. We know that God is the mannerism, all of the things that we do care about with prayer and meditation. As you will make it through after this, I hope this does change your significance to be stronger, more mature, or more level in your balance in life. We know that there is some questions being asked to me. This is how I have output back into the community that I answer a total of 4 questions each real talk. The first question is, how did I get over the fact that my husband was gay? When God seals you from all of these things when you make a decision not to be that. When you know that you have a right to be able to grow towards some things, you realize that the development and the reality takes place. You have to seek if there's a sickness, you have to make sure that there is nothing that is going to be provocative to you to be a part of an esteem. When you get up into your morning dew, you realize that God gave you a preface to be able to be asylum in your style. And you realize that God is not taking nothing from you for being protective. When you get yourself up in the morning, you know how you feel, you know what you want to really go do. God gives you a reason to provoke some thing to get another estrogen. And we know that we have been studied about meditative authority. Mine's come from all over the world because I have traveled. When I was in Africa, my face did get sliced, and I unsliced it because that's not my real culture. But somebody could have said that my husband had just died and I'm a widow. It helped me to be able to see how these things happen because people's children then was left alone. And I got to make it for myself. I'm not from here. I need to get on the first plane out of here before I be dark skinned like them getting somewhere. I thank God for giving me a truancy to be able to see how these cultures are being made. You have to realize that there is a preface that is happening all over the world. When you do not do what it is specific for you, you realize that I do also have Bible talk that comes on later in the evening on a Sunday. In my preface, I do 4 scriptures to be able to make sure the significance is there. And if it's more teaching that needs to be done, that's when I start breaking out the Bible. And my plateau and my reason to know, I thank God for giving me my prevail about why things happen the way they do. And when you see that there is a proclamation, there's something that is provoked in you to give you what you need. And my time is about stress, is about balance, and also building together. When you have someone that God is dealing with, which is my promotion, you have to leave it alone. You have to get with somebody that is perfectly planned to understand your situation, that wants you. You have to be out, you have to be about, and you meet someone like you. When you go on and speak about it and keep your schedule. Know that I am getting older, but I'm getting older slower. Okay? I understand that people would like to reveal of something about the elder. Don't touch that deed, don't touch that title still. Because God will keep you protected in your arms. The second question is, how do you know when your husband is gay? Lord God, let that spirit be vexed out of you. For you should not come here and be a spiritual dial. There are things to protect you when you feel like someone is trying your manhood. Some people get themselves involved in things that folks is not understanding why this does happen. But there's a strum drum that bells, and I know that I am not a part of it. Capital U Wikipedia says that this is astounding to a system that is prevailing in the provocation of a mannerism. When you know your husband has low testosterone, that don't mean he's gay. Could mean he have cancer, or could mean that he had a friend. When you look at God's covering, no one is getting upset about how you're culturing your diddle. Don't jump to a sexual relationship in God's covering with someone because God is covering you. You have to realize that you're getting everything a marriage gets. And then when you get it on paper, you realize, oh, okay, this was figured to be speaking. We ask God to give us all what we need in order for ourselves to be able to be provoked and to establishing a meditation to happen. You can get married in any church. Non-denominational is your speaking of covering, your protection. When you realize that the Methodist Church is from my sheet, we already fully prepared. Military Chapter 1049689 that came up with Methodist last year from Dubai, which is the scientific reasons in a church, which capital U Wikipedia. Capital L32 protects me because another armor is instilled about something about you giving up. What I will say is that God will fill us with the things we need in order to make it through today. When you go into synagogues, you are being protected. You realize that you have, in my particular example, I have a 12-hour shift once a week doing home health aid for $30 an hour. That means that I get to go 2 days a week to Sheard where? Stay faithful, for God shall be your esteem. And everything you want, you get. If you're on my schedule, you're going to have nothing. When you realize that that is a profitability build, every person is supposed to be established to be right and the look and also the culture of synagogues. SNOGHUSE protects you in God's covering. You realize that you have Master. You realize that you have Epiphany. Realize that you have Epoch. Realize that, yeah, I've been listening to Spanish all my life. How about I get a book and like really look up 20 words or learn to speak Spanish on Play Store. You realize that God gives you what you want, your wants and needs, your desires. And then you can see exactly why hearts has been happening for you and why there's nothing there for you. You are a misculture. You should not be faced by anyone about no money, holding no money for the 30 years. If that's the case, he could have took over your whole account if he had the intelligence to do so. And the audacity of being gay, who was you? We know that happiness comes in when we are deriving and depriving ourselves on mistake. Just see what this person's gonna do to me. You're not a friend. When you get up and you know that you have masked something to me, and now you're trying to master me, you're not a friend. And God has given us levels of honesty to be able to go through these things, to see how it is to be able to prevail against you, because I can make these things for you. I have mastered this with one person that his masterman did say when I met him. And I know that I have to become more enthralled into a silhouette look because I'm unhappy at the fact this week that I can't get into a zip up back dress. And I bought the perfect gold shoes to match. And my apathy, it keeps me from having cancer. It keeps me from being stressed out. It keeps me from being lost. And I had somebody to help me, but he's not there anymore. I have to move on. God has given me my right to say, hey, listen, you're not the only one on this earth that I can be peaceful to. And when I look and I see how I can prevail in these things, God has given me a level of honesty that I come from a petitional stage. And yeah, I can wear gold and brown pimp, just like Pimp Say plus all. And then you look, yeah, it is the first company that knows what you're doing. And you look at LinkedIn levels, you see how God is there with you at all times. And then you look at LinkedIn system, you see, we start from varium of system depletes, and we go into a bracket, and then that's where engineer come in at. And I thank God for giving me Braille, because Braille is what I'm using. And I know that there's nothing to catch you in, but God says the right to have what you need is to call out the God that is helping you get this man, to get this woman. You realize that you can have an associate, someone to feel with, someone to be spiritual with, someone to be endowed with. Do you have that? Yes. And I look at all of the sin he has, and it's nothing different to what I have, but I know he has seen and he has touched, he has tasted, he has smelled the serpent's blood. I'm wondering how close he is in that. God has given rights to know how you're going to be bereaved, and you get nervous about something. And it's called with habits, it's called with coverings to cook. And I look, I said, cholesterol means that you had HIV before because you're telling me on the phone that you had myalgia. You're taking medication for it, and you're at the end of your post. This is not my stop. And look, and I see how people have party goers with them, and they want you to be a part of that proclamation. I have proclaimed already. And God has given me what I need in order for myself to profess in you about these audacities that people come up with just to have an excuse to mess with someone. Excuse my phone. I know that there was something that was titled would be thy name, thy kingdom come. And when you talk about gay activity, you're talking about a person's serpent into our life. And realize every animal deserves to see what this serpent is doing. Because God said, you ain't about to come up in here with all these beautiful children that you have already and not give a hug. I know that God gave me a reason to see that these things too should come to pass. And God should give me a covering that I need, amen. And we see what love passes. What bond is what I need. Question number 3. How do you know your husband dressed better than you or smell better than you at church? You need to ask that spirit to leave away from you and be a friend with someone else. Don't partake in anyone else's lifestyle. This is a professional friendship. You talk on the phone, you go shopping together. That's the example of failure. You talk on the phone, you meet at church, and then you say bye because you build with your husband. That's what a lot of people do. And then you talk about what you do with somebody that's not married, that's opening up secrets of the sedacious of the first time of people that is not obligated. Just like God called Samuel, go get Saul. That's why we study. When you look at how God has epiphanized your life, you realize that there is nothing that's going to brace you from the epiphany. And then you see how God has circumcised you or uncircumcised you, God circumcised you to the epiphany. You realize I'm uncircumcised. You will be one day. Because God said these foldings of hair, the surgeons keep you healthy. Let us not be bereaved of what's happening in this life to the truancy of man. And we can see out these things all the time. God is going to be there with us no matter what. Question number 4 is, how do you keep your husband from being gay? Who's talking to you about that? And people need to stop making it seem like that's a real advantage about what's happening in this caution. You don't have nothing to do with that. Stay professional. You might end up be making millions with each other because all it takes is the house. Okay, 900,000 left in your account. That's a lifetime. Let us not be provoking in these things of sedacious to run your team away from you. God, help us all to be able to make it on this week. This is real talk. I know my husband's got gay, nor am I accepting that bull crap from you talking about somebody has happened in the past or the future. We'll keep ourselves together. Whatever today we have going on is a seduction. This is Pastor Shirley, Knox, Sheard. Continue to keep yourself together. Ministress, Shirley, Knox, Sheard. If you would like me to publicly speak for you, call 702-517-9105. Thank you so much and have a wonderful life this week.